Good day. My name is Craig Jameson, and I own and operate NetWorks Boise Valley, which is a business-to-business networking or leads group organization that's based here in Boise, Idaho. And today I wanted to introduce you to some of the concepts behind NetWorks Boise and give you a little bit of an idea of what makes this a truly unique networking experience. First of all, let's talk a little bit about our philosophies. First of all, we believe that networking is hard work and serious business. Make no mistake, we have fun at our meetings, but the focus is on business, on increasing your revenues, and not on having coffee. We also believe that members should share a common market. We have chosen to focus on business to business rather than business to consumer, although we do have certain members that do both. The reason is pretty simple. A business to business person is not going to have the kind of leads that are necessarily applicable to somebody in business to consumer and vice versa. We're best designed for products and services that are applicable to a wide range of businesses. So, to be real honest with you, if you call, say, for example, only on healthcare industries, we are probably not the best solution for your need. We also believe that relationships are built through attendance and participation. Why is that? Well, honestly, if we don't see you, we don't get to know you. Through your attendance and your participation, we get to know you as a person, we get to know you as a company, we get to know you as a professional, we get to know more about your products and services, and that's how relationships are built. Shared general leads, we believe, will foster referrals and introduction. Well, what do I mean by a shared general lead? A lot of the types of leads that we share are what I would call business intelligence. That might be a company moving, relocating, expanding, and these leads might be applicable to a large number of our members, so that's great in itself. But here's what happens. After the meeting, members get together and they say, hey, Fred, I really liked what you had to say about ABC Company. Can you tell me a little bit more? What type of relationship do you have with that company? Is there a way that I might be able to use your name, or maybe you can give me a direct referral or introduction? Those types of interactions between our members foster further referrals and introductions. Members should not be asked to serve as officers or on committees, and that's pretty easy because we have no officers or committees. All day-to-day group operations are borne by me as the operator. We're looking for the best people for our groups, and the best people are the busiest people. We are asking you to make an investment in attending the meeting and in the dues, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. And as a result of that, you expect to get a return, and your return cannot be maximized if we ask you to assume additional duties. Let's talk about our services. We do have a website. The website is used to promote our members, their companies, and the group as a whole. In the center section there, you'll see where we have featured members. Each week we rotate 3 members to the front page. On the left-hand side, you'll see that we have a slideshow of all member photos, and below that we have logos for each of our member companies that link directly to their website. We also encourage members to construct and help us to do so a complete profile of them as a member, and then we will dedicate a page to them. So that tells a little bit maybe more about their background, their education, maybe other affiliations. Maybe they're involved in a nonprofit that they'd like to talk a little bit about. That can all be done on the dedicated member page. Although we do have for each group, and we have 3 groups that meet weekly, we do have a dedicated page for each group that lists all the members in the group, what they do, who they're with, and their applicable contact information. We promote our members. We promote them through social media. We're quite active on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Google+, and we're constantly sending out links to their pages, to their company sites, to any kind of articles that they may have written. So we're doing our best to give them the kind of exposure that they deserve. If a member of their company has a blog where they have articles that are regularly added to that blog, with their permission, we will monitor that site for new articles, and once again auto feed that out through social media. And then finally, members are encouraged to submit articles for our site. That might be something on a particular aspect of their business or a project that they just completed, for example. The idea behind all of this is not only to establish their expertise, but then also increase their visibility. I've actually had members come to me and said, hey, you know what, Craig? We did a little analytics on our site, and guess where most of the hits were coming from? They were coming from the NetWorks Boise site. Or members have come to me and say, hey Craig, I Googled myself just to see how I look on the internet. Hey, and guess what? The first hit I got was for NetWorks Boise. So, we're constantly looking for new ways to do this, and we'll continue to do so. We have a resources page on our site. The resource page has links that our members can use to get to perhaps additional business opportunities or to do research on a company that they might be interested in doing business with. If we find a particularly neat tool, we might put a link to that on the site. We also have our most commonly used forms, such as our menus, our lead forms, etc., are available right here on the network site. Each individual group also has a dedicated private forum, and we use that in a couple of different ways. First of all, it's a discussion board. So let me give you an example here. We may have a member that is trying to work with ABC Company, and they have absolutely no way to get in there. They don't know any of the people that are involved. So they can come in here, they can post on the forum, say, hey, I'm trying to get with ABC Company. Does anybody know them? Has anybody worked with them? Can you help me out? Once a member does this, an email is automatically sent out to all the rest of the members in the group, and then they can respond to this cry for help. So that's one of the ways we use the forum. The other way we use it is as a permanent depository for some of the reports that we generate. Some are generated weekly, some are generated on other schedules. But for example, every week we generate a report on all the leads that have been shared, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So we take those reports in a PDF and sometimes an Excel format if requested, and we will upload those to the forum folders section. We also have quarterly updated spreadsheets in an XLS format that our members can import to whatever they use for a database, whether it's Outlook or Gmail or whatever, of member information. Now this would include member information that would not necessarily be found on the public site. Each group also has a dedicated web-based CRM. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. You may be using one of these yourself or have used them in the past or familiar with them. Common ones might be ACT or Goldmine or Salesforce. We use a product called Zoho. So here's what happens. Every week when the leads are shared, they're written down by the members. Those are left with me at the end of the meeting, and I come back and I upload all of that information to the CRM. Here's the beauty of it. Every lead becomes dynamic. So for example, we may have a lead that was put in here 6 months ago on a new project, and maybe that project just kind of came to a standstill because they couldn't get any funding, but now they can. So it's back on the radar. Member says, hey, they started this up again. I've got some new contact information, whatever it may be. We already have a record on that lead. We can go in there and we can append and we can edit it to reflect the current information. Members are welcome to go on here. They're welcome to edit themselves, add their notes, any edited contact information. They can also search for any record. They can even search for keywords within records. So for example, if I was a mover, I might want to look at every lead that had the word moving in it. And we can do that also. So that's a fabulous program. Here's an example of the kind of report that you can see on the screen. Of course, we do this in a PDF format also. It gives you your member name, the company, whether or not to use that member name, key contacts, phone numbers, description of the lead, if it was referred to a particular member, and then also the date and time last modified. We believe in education. I blog regularly on the site regarding networking, sales, CRM tools, any other kind of tool that I think the members might like to be kept informed of. And it's right there. And it's public. Anybody wants to go look at it, take a look. Our commitment. We're looking to continually improve our services, and I think any member that you might talk to that was with us when we started about 4 years ago will tell you that the way NetWorks looks today compared to what it looked like 4 years ago, it's a totally different organization. We want to constantly strive to exceed your expectations. Meeting your expectations means nothing to us. That is a neutral experience. I got what I expected. We strive to exceed your expectations, and we do that constantly. We want to provide you with the tools and the atmosphere necessary for your success. Let's talk a bit about our requirements. We expect you to attend a minimum of 75% of our meetings. We do meet weekly 48 times per year. And for those meetings that you cannot attend, we encourage you to designate an alternate from your company. We want you to bring an average of 2 written leads, so I can get them in the CRM, referrals or introductions weekly. Respect member and group anonymity. The watchword is that we're like Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas without specific member permission to use their name or the group. Conduct yourself in a professional manner at all times and pay your dues on time. Let's talk about dues. Dues are $300 per quarter, that's $26 a week, and are paid in advance by cash or check. Your membership is renewed each quarter by mutual agreement of both the operator, that would be me, and the member. So say for example you come to me at the end of the quarter and say, hey Craig, I'd really like to continue with the group. I might look at you and say, you know what, you haven't been able to attend meetings, you haven't been able to participate. Certainly that's not a good use of your money, and honestly you're not doing the group any good either, because we're saving an industry classification for you and there's no contribution coming from that classification. So I may ask that particular member to move on. Best of luck, nothing personal, it's just business. So what happens to the dues? Approximately 43% goes to your meal. We have 2 lunches, we have 1 breakfast each week, although you will be getting 1 lunch or 1 breakfast depending on what group you're in. However, I do have a lot of member companies that are involved in 2 or 3 groups. 7 to 12% goes to additional operating costs. That would be forms, supplies, printing, web hosting, domain name, technical support, and office equipment for me to operate. Meeting equipment, we regularly have computer screen, projector, and software available at the meetings, guest meals, advertising, and special events. And the rest goes to me. As I said, I do this as a business. The good news is that I take it very seriously. So what do I do for that? I run the meetings. I handle all the food ordering. I perform all the accounting functions. I don't ask you to serve. You'll never be secretary treasurer if you miss a meeting. That's always good. I maintain the website, the CRM, and the forum. I update the leads weekly and generate the reports. I promote you and your business, and I prospect for new members. So if your meal is $11, that means that you invest. You're concentrating on invest. You don't spend. Invest approximately $15 a week, which is roughly equivalent to couple of cappuccinos, movies and popcorn by yourself. I don't know if you could do both for that amount of money, or I should say take somebody, or maybe a couple of beers. But what do all these activities have in common? Absolutely none of them make you any money. Through the years, I've written well over $1 million in business as a direct result of networking groups. Membership in NetWorks Boise is an investment. It is not an expense. And probably your entire dues are even tax deductible. Check with your accountant, but unlike taking a person out to lunch, a client out to lunch where you get to write off half of it, you can take your whole dues and write them off. Once again, as I say, talk to your accountant, but it's like taking 15, 20 people to lunch every week for a business lunch, and they go Dutch. Now, we're real confident of your success. If you're willing to follow our guidelines and our suggestions, we will support that with a money-back guarantee. You come to me at the end of the first quarter and say, hey, Craig, this hasn't worked out for me. I'm going to say, okay, were you at 75% of the meetings? Did you meet with members off-site? Did you do this? Did you do that? You say, yeah, I did all that. I'm going to say, hey, well, I'm sorry it didn't work out. Here's your refund, 100% of the dues that you spent. So the question is, are you ready to make an investment in yourself and your business? Well, I sure hope so, and if you'd like more information, our website is networksboise.com, or please contact me. Once the name, again, my name is Craig Jameson. I can be reached at area code 208-340-9546 or at craig@salesresultsllc.com. And thanks for stopping by, and thanks for taking a look at us. Hope to see you soon.